Hey, football fans, welcome back to another episode of Lions Latest, the show where we gather around and talk about the greatest team in the NFL, the Detroit Lions. I'm your host, Bryan Hanes, and I actually have a special little look into the Lions' first joint training camp with the Dolphins today. I was there, so let's get straight into the video. Starting off, we're talking about how the offense operated during this practice. So, first of all, let's just say dominant practice today. It was super awesome to watch. The offense was just clicking, firing on all cylinders. It was really, really cool to watch from the seats we got. We got some good ones, showed up early, all that stuff. So, despite the wet grass from rain last night, receivers were running really great routes, especially St. Brown, Khalif Raymond, Isaac Tesla. And then JMO was also burning his DBs on those fade routes, those go routes, but he had a little case of the dropsies today. He still played great, though. He showed his ability in the red zone to stop on a dime and come back for a curl or just get crossed across the middle and get those easy, super easy yards and some touchdowns. He was playing really, really good despite having some drops early. Tesla was also in quite a bit. He was in quite a bit. Tim Patrick was not. I'm not sure what's going on with Tim Patrick. He wasn't practicing, but they used Tesla in a lot of motion plays. It was super, super cool to watch what he could do. He was both a distraction and a target because of his size and speed. So he was running some great routes, all that good stuff. And also Ronnie Bell. I want to give a little mention to Ronnie Bell, who was getting some reps in with the first and second team offense, making quick turns, running great routes, and had some few tough catches. So good for Ronnie Bell. I think the big thing that stood out to me, though, was how well Jared Goff was operating on this new offense. He was dialed in. He was hitting extremely tight windows on corner routes, on streak routes, making quick and smart reads, completed nearly every throw. The reads he was making were so fast, and the ball was always just placed perfectly. It was insane to watch. The real star today, though, in the passing game was Amon-Ra St. Brown. He had a day. He made multiple diving catches for crazy, crazy conversions, made defenders dizzy with the kind of routes he was running. Then he going for the most TDs, I'm pretty sure, during those red zone drills. At one point during the 7v7 drills, Goff actually found St. Brown in the corner of the end zone. He threw like a goal line fade route, and St. Brown, who was smothered by the defender, turns around and gets a one-handed grab almost behind the defender, like the defender's in between him and the ball, and just comes away with it. Like, for a touchdown. Like, you can't write that stuff. They were just on the same page the entire time, totally locked in. The crowd went wild for this one. Everyone was like looking around. It was sweet. The dual running back set was super awesome as well. Let's talk about the running backs a little bit. Interesting and exciting to watch both Monty and Gibbs on the field at the same time consistently. They both mixed assignments between blocking and running routes. I think Montgomery picked up every single block they assigned him to really well, gave Goff plenty of time. And you could tell that with both of them on the field, St. Brown, Laporta, and JMO, no one knew who to worry about on defense. They were so confused on what was going to happen. And because of the blocking being picked up so well in that backfield, it allowed play action passes to go through smoothly. Super, super, super cool to watch. I like that new dual back set that they're going to take advantage of this year. When you have two guys that good, why not throw them together? It's kind of a funky set, and you can do a lot of cool stuff with it. The play action, the screen potential, both having them on routes. What are you going to do? Montgomery was actually getting a lot of practice on those routes. He had some pretty steady hands. He was catching most of his passes. It was really cool. If Monty gets going on the passing game, he's just going to build momentum, and then you're going to let Gibbs or St. Brown or JMO go because you were too worried about what the running backs are doing. And, it's going to be really dangerous. Our O-line was also on the same page. Mahogany and Ratledge were, for the most part, a brick wall in the guard position, working really well, those two young guys. And Glasgow held it down at center. I was really impressed with what I was seeing from him. There was always those little worries about what's going to happen there, but he seemed to hold it down well. The two tackles were also doing great as always. Dan Skipper was also sharing reps with Taylor Decker, still dealing with that shoulder injury. And with those three young guys, Mahogany, Sewell, and Ratledge, you got to think they're still super young, especially the two guys we just got. But Sewell's still young too. I see a future for this O-line. I see it continuing as long as Mahogany works out this season. I see a great group of guys that we can have for the long haul. On the flip side, though, let's talk about Hendon Hooker. He was anything but Jared Goff. Almost every pass was nearly a check down. He was consistently overthrowing receivers on go routes. An unfortunate showing. Nothing really wowed me, and that's not really good for him or his trade value for us. So definitely not good there. Kyle Allen, though, was decent. decent. He was making some completions, some good completions, and finding his targets faster than Hooker was. Hooker just seemed hesitant, like he wasn't ready to make a read, or he'd look for a curl, and then he, by the time he was thinking about it, it was too late to hit it, not risk an interception. Like it just didn't seem like he was really clicking today, which is unfortunate because the rest of the offense was great. And then Vaki, just a shout out to him. He's first day back from injury, had some really solid runs, was getting mixed in a lot of plays, and he seemed like he's getting a lot better. I have some hope for him this year. I think he's going to develop a lot more and have a really good season. Granted, he stays healthy on practice and all that good stuff. But that's what I have to say about offense. Really cool to see the way Goff was playing. He was absolutely dialed. St. Brown and him were just, they have this connection that you don't understand until you get up close and see the way they're playing. Just the both of them know exactly what they want to do. Goff was really good at avoiding pressure, stepping up in the pocket. It was an awesome showing and it was dominant. So it was absolutely cool to be there and witness that. We're actually now going to talk about the defensive side. So I saw more offense than defense, but the defensive side also had a great showing from what I saw. Miami Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, which first of all was hesitant to grade his performance during the first of two joint practices we have with them. Today, offensively, he said, was a very frustrating day. In regard to what we wanted to do and what we said we wanted to do, we came out and we just weren't able to get things jump started. So that was very frustrating today. Yeah, our defense was absolutely dominant as well. That was the big thing from today. We were just moving. Detroit overwhelmed Miami in drills. 11 on 11s, 7 on 7 work, both sides of the ball. We were just beating them on everything. Lions pass rusher Aiden Hutchinson recorded 2 sacks, blowing through Miami's pass protection. He was doing that a lot, or he was just making it collapse. Him and Marcus Davenport were just a disturbance during these drills. His bull rush was crazy, alongside with Hutch's swim move and his spin. Like they were just making this pocket so unstable for Tua. He didn't really have time to find reads, which was really exciting if you're a Lions fan. And honestly, it was just great. During the 7-on-7 periods, Grand Valley State Ian Kennelly, my guy, and Nick Whiteside each picked off Dolphins quarterback Zach Wilson. During red zone drills, the Dolphins ran about 17 plays towards the end of practice, and about half of them featuring the first team offense against Detroit's first team defense. They failed to score on all of them. They weren't able to score on any of them. When I saw our team going, the offense was scoring quite a bit. St. Brown had back-to-back touchdowns, one of them being that crazy one. Tua just said we couldn't gain the momentum to get them to where we needed to be. That's what Tua said. We were just stopping the momentum, and that's awesome. That's what we were expecting out of Hutch, right? Hutch was just a monster. It was really cool to see him go. That's exactly what we needed from him, just to be a disturbance, just to make the quarterback unable to think straight so they can't get into a rhythm. And he's doing that. That's what he's doing alongside the defensive tackles that we got. I mean, we looked good defensively, and it was really exciting because usually offense is more exciting to watch. But seeing Hutch and Davenport just get into his face was like, it was reassuring. I'll say that. Anzalone, let's give a little shout out to him. Also looked great in pass coverage like he was last year. He had a few deflected passes, made really great tackles on receivers that, no yards after the catch or even disrupting the catch. So it's an incompletion. Overall, the practice was scrappy and physical. I will note that. We'll get into that a little bit more and that topic down there. But it was good. It was a good practice. It's good physicality, good wanting it. It was definitely a practice where everyone on our team wanted it. And that was really exciting to watch. I will note for the defense, Tyreek Hill wasn't playing. I know Jalen Waddle got involved a little bit, but then sat out. But still, I think despite not having them, we still played really good ball. And I'm not really sure why Tyreek Hill wasn't practicing, to be completely honest with you. Just saying. But that's what we have for that. We're going to move to the injuries that happened. I wanted to make this a separate topic because I did see a couple injuries during their practice, which was, not good to see. And also we never want injuries. Keaton Sutherland was the one I saw. He's one of our backup guards. During a run play, he bent kind of like back snapback. And he just was like laying on the field, was not getting up. Everyone was pretty worried. The cart was coming, and he was able to get up with some help and stand on his own, but he was ultimately carted off. We don't really know what's going on there yet, but hopefully he's okay and gets better. We do need that depth at O-line, and also I just don't want to see one of our guys get hurt. Tim Patrick did not play today, and there's still no immediate update on why. Saw him on the sidelines. He was suited up, but he wasn't really getting in for any snaps at all, besides stretching and maybe some drills. Ahmad Hassanin, update. So he exited Monday's practice early with a lower leg injury, like we know, but he was fortunate to have avoided any level of serious injury. He was back on practice today, Wednesday, and Campbell noted that it was a little scare on Monday, but thankfully it should be fine. So he was kind of getting warmed up too and getting kind of in the mix a little bit. Good to know for the assassin. I really was excited for him. That would have really sucked for him if that had happened, because I do want to see what he's made of, and I do think he could be a definite player on our team in the next few years. But yeah, no, it was not that bad of a practice injury wise. I was kind of scared I was going to see a few guys that I really didn't want to see get injured, and everyone was good except for that. And one of our corners as well, I think, left practice a little early. But for the most part, it was a good practice. Guys were playing good. There were some big hits, absolutely, but still didn't stop guys from playing well and getting up and just going to the next play. So the final part of training camp that I wanted to talk about in this little special episode, training camp special, was the fights. There were a few scuffles during this practice, and at the very end, there was something a lot more intense. So, the joint practice with the Dolphins ended in just a whimper from the Dolphins defense. There was an absolutely dominating day from the Lions offense and defense, and the defense for the Miami Dolphins just, I guess, was not very happy, and they just weren't having it. Detroit's first team offense drove all the way down the field in just 54 simulated seconds during the last little scrimmage. And the final play was an intended pass to JMO on a go route that fell incomplete, but there was an illegal contact penalty on Miami away from the play. So the Lions didn't even bother kicking in the field goal, which would have been the sealing play for that scrimmage. And instead they just fired or blew the whistles, and everyone left the field, right? Seconds later, though, Jameson Williams was seen throwing punches at a Dolphin defender, and not just any Dolphin defender. It happened to be former Lions safety Ifatu Imelefanwu. The scrum only lasted a few like 30 seconds before the entire team converged on both players to break up the scuffle. It was a huge thing that met in the middle. It was like every player, every coach was in the middle trying to break people away, and no one was hurt, thankfully. But the moment stands out as a high intensity moment for the practice. It definitely was. I remember I was leaning on my seats, and all of a sudden I heard yelling and whistles blowing, and I look over, and everyone in the stands is looking at this going, what the heck? And you can just see JMO in the middle of it swinging, and you're like, oh, no. Granted, Melifonwu did walk by the interview request from reporters, denied it, but did say as he was walking by that, quote unquote, it's football, right? So guys, obviously tensions are going to be high. I'm sure JMO just wanted to catch that pass and then was talking crap, and no one likes to be talked crap to. Something like that doesn't excuse it though, really, because before this final intense brawl, I noticed that there was quite a bit of pushing and shoving beforehand anyways. Some passes that were caught. Defenders from Miami would go up and try to smack the ball out like for no reason, out of frustration or whatever. And then we'd have guys pushing around, grabbing each other's face masks or jerseys. There was a lot. It was very scrappy, very physical practice. And JMO, for some reason, was either always a part of it or in the middle of it. He was involved a lot, and it kept making me think, JMO, don't do anything stupid, man. I get it, get fired up, be competitive, but chill a little bit because we don't want anything to happen. He's a big part of the offense now. We're going to be relying on him a lot this year to be a weapon. And if for some reason he gets suspended for fighting or something, and he's gonna be out for a few games, whatever, even one game, we're gonna need him. We're absolutely gonna need him. So hopefully he doesn't do anything too dumb to get suspended, because I love you, JMO, and I don't want you to go anywhere, brother. But that is all the time we have for today. Thank you guys so much for watching Lions Latest, this very special training camp episode where I could give you kind of the first person perspective of what was going on in practice. It was very cool to be at. It was very cool to watch. And I saw a lot of good stuff from the Lions today. So hopefully that can continue that into the second practice. And then for the preseason game against the Miami Dolphins later this weekend, make sure you me like, comment, subscribe if you made it to this point in the video. What do you think about the fights? Just football, or is JMO just kind of getting a little too comfortable doing stuff like this? Let me know what you guys think. I'd love to hear what you've got to say. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you in the next video.